Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Let's go ahead and make welcome Alan Akaka once again, all the way from Hawaii.
Aloha, everyone. Troy, how are you?
I'm great.
Well,
Fantastic. I've been enjoying all your Facebook pics of another tour around Japan.
yeah, my Akaka Club tour for September 2016, and it's a great thing, going up there all by myself, and I have two members up there. I shouldn't say I have two members. There are two artists that back me up, and they're fine artists. Um, One, the bass player, young bass player, and he's quite popular among groups, hula, and so on, even in the nightclubs. So it I had to select the dates for my Akaka Club tour based on his schedule. So he was able to he could tell me when he was available, and then boom, I said, okay, I'll do my trip then. And then all the gigs kind of fell in place, all the places. I did like 8 straight nights of playing from one live house to the next. Live house is like, a performance bar, with the stage and everything. So yeah, 8 straight nights of playing. I loved it. It was a short trip, but to play every night, it was great. The guitarist I had. Oh, by the way, the bass player's name is Shigeru Nimura, and the guitar player is Takeshi Shirakata. Now, Shirakata for steel guitar in Japan is a very famous name, and I'm referring to his father, Bucky Shirakata. Bucky is originally from Hawaii. He graduated from McKinley High School here in Honolulu, and he and a couple other friends who also could play steel guitar traveled to Japan before the war. Bucky ended up staying there in Japan, and actually, raised a family, and died there. So he was, I suppose, a Japan citizen. But the other two steel guitars, uh, well, one, Mel Abe, or Mel Masao Abe, was selected to play with or was hired to play with the Hawaiian Village Serenaders after the passing of Joe Zassi.
Wow.
So Mel Abe actually backed up Hilo Hattie when she uh, when she took over the tap room after Alfred Apaka's passing. So Abe-san, he played with a lot of the greatest, with the Hawaii Calls people and so on. I got to play with Mel many times. The other steel guitarists lived in Honolulu, and he eventually moved to Hilo. Charlie Nosaka. Um, so you have all these steel guitars, all Japanese, of Japan, Japanese ancestry, and so on. All good guys and so on. But Bucky himself became almost like the dean of steel guitar in Japan. And there's a lot of steel guitarists today, amateurs, that play what is known as the Bucky style.
Ah,
The Bucky style. And Bucky used A minor tuning, ECA, ECA, from the top to the bottom. And so his influence was great throughout Japan amongst steel guitars, Hawaiian music as well as Japanese.
now
And yes,
was he around the same age as Lion Kobayashi? Kobayashi?
older, older.
Older. Okay.
He would be in his 100 something today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so he's much older than Lion, more than 20 years, I would say. Yeah. And speaking of Lion, I spent some time with him. He came to at least a couple of my performances, and he's in his 80s now, and you he, he's still spry. His body is older. He walks with a cane, but his mind and his spirit is still spry. And he's still experimenting with tunings and so on. At one of my gigs, somebody had asked, "Oh, how many tunings do I know?" And so I was counting, more than a dozen and so on. And then Lion, and this is just like Lion, he said, "No, no." I asked Lion, "How many tunings do you know?" He says, 30. I said, "What? 30 tunings?" And then, of course, I know, all the tunings I know he's familiar with. And then some of the other tunings, you just retune one string or maybe multiple strings, and so
Huh.
on. And he's right now the greatest steel guitarist in Japan. He plays jazz, he plays Hawaiian, uh, and he does them equally well. Well, he's also a jazz pianist, but at one of my gigs, and this was in someone's country home, beautiful home up in the mountains, where if you saw my Facebook page or post, you saw all those instruments, and this is in the living room now, and that background of trees, some of them turning, orange and so on. I mean, just beautiful, gorgeous. And there were three steel guitars there. One is a pedal steel guitar. Another one is one that has a lever where you can change the tuning, by shifting the lever. And the other
Yeah.
one was a Fender Quad. And
Now, what's a Fender quad? You mean
yeah,
quad like four necks?
four necks, eight strings
Gotcha.
each, a long scale, and it sounded beautiful. And the owner, it was the host. Uh, he wanted me to play that steel guitar, and I noticed, from last year when I was there, he had new strings on there. Felt great, sounded great, and the tunings were C13th, then B11th, then E13th, E913, and the top one was a G9 tuning, or it's a dual tuning. There's like F major 7 on top, on the bottom G9. Yeah. Oh, G13 tuning. That's what Lion calls it. And I'm familiar with that tuning. I've used it before and so on. And then Lion came up. He says, "Oh, look, here's a song." He started playing it. He says, "Here, you can play this song using all straight bars. Of course, you got to move around the neck." And it's a song called "There Goes Kealoha." It's an old Hawaiian song. And I'm going, "Wow, that's pretty good." He says, "Yeah, I just discovered this last week." So
Oh,
he's still experimenting with tunings. He's great. I've been playing steel guitar for more than 40 years, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to play the instrument. But that's what Jerry Bird used to tell me too. He says I'm still learning. No,
and that's
or Barney Isaacs. He says, "Yep, I'm still learning how to play this instrument." Very modest. They know the instrument so well, better than most, and they're still learning. But I am too. I'm still learning. Things on the steel guitar. It's all there in the strings, on the neck, in the tuning, and every now and then I come up with something new. You know, and that's a good thing. To continue to learn.
yeah,
Yeah, very important. So it's great spending time with Lion and so on. And then there's some other players. Mr. Shiraishi, I went to his club called the Coco Music Studio. He is one of the last steel guitar players to have a bar, a live house.
huh.
He's still going, and he plays a quad too. Um, Although he tunes one differently, I think he uses all fat strings, for a low tuning,
Oh, okay,
like Barney Isaacs did on Hawaii Calls, using that low bass tuning. C6 or C13.
okay.
Um, who else? Some other young players like I call him Techan, and his last name is Ishiyama. He plays steel guitar. He plays quite well. He takes Hawaiian steel guitar lessons from me when he comes to Hawaii, and he takes jazz lessons from Lion, and
Ah,
he does a really good job. Uh, I mean, talk about the next generation in Japan, because a lot of the steel guitars are old timers, and so the next generation, there's a handful of young adults who play steel guitar, and I hope to change that, in time, to get
yeah,
more
yeah.
more and more young players. But I did notice. Sorry.
What's the Shintarua Kuramoto?
Oh,
Is that the
Shintaro.
Shintaro? Yeah, he sounds really good. I watched some of his
Yeah,
videos on
he
Facebook.
likes Barney Isaacs. if you
Yeah,
notice.
yeah.
So somebody gave me these Hawaiian fan magazines I have here, and they have Hawaiian concerts.
Oh, wow. Look at
This is
that.
only one Hawaiian concert. This is produced by Coco Music Studio at place I played at. So it's going to be in the hall and so on. And these are notable Hawaiian music performers.
Nice.
Um, let's see, and dancers too. But I was flipping through here and I saw something that I really loved. By the way, where is it? Is it this one? No, maybe it's this issue.
Now, is this in Tokyo, or what's the city where where a lot of this stuff takes place?
Mostly in Tokyo, mostly. I came upon this article. Look at this.
Wow, look at
A
that.
young girl playing steel guitar. And in Yokohama, there's two young boys, Ryo-chan and Sho-chan, learning how to play steel guitar. Next generation. And
Yeah.
and I love seeing this. You know, I mean, a young girl. What is her age? What does it say over here? Oh, steel guitar. Fuka-chan. Her name is Fuka-chan. Yeah, it says over here Fuka-chan down here.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, here. If everybody
Yeah.
can read what it says. Yeah, but and they even have still music schools. In Japan. I mean, more
Yeah.
than one. You know,
You know what'd be
Kaino
cool
Music
is
Academy, the Yokohama, the Yokohama Hawaiian Music Academy, and so on and so forth. Um, so Hawaiian music is still very popular in Japan. Oh, there's even an article about Kikula Mele in here, my
oh
school.
cool.
Yeah, I didn't know they did this. I was surprised when I saw this in here. Yeah,
Can you
white.
read
Oh,
that?
I can read some of it. Yeah, I have to brush up on my Japanese. But Hawaiian Fan Magazine. He's been doing this for years and years and years. For Hawaiian events and so on. I mean, this is great. It keeps Hawaiian music alive. And so when I go up there, there's a following. My Akaka Club. Uh, Great. I mean, I just love it. And the Japanese are just, there's aloha up there and kind hospitality. Really, the Japanese really know how to host. And even, after the gig, wanting to take me out to have a snack. And, sometimes it's a big bowl of ramen. It's like, oh, this is no snack. You know,
Speaking of that, I loved
this is
all
a
your
meal.
food, what you call food porn, all the pictures of your food.
I know that. Every time I go to Japan, there's so much wonderful food up there. I mean, great tasting, both Japanese and Western style food. Pasta, steaks, pizza, Krispy Kreme, things like that, as well as the Japanese meals, delicacies, and so on. It's a great place to gain weight. Although when you look at the Japanese, they don't look obese. I
No.
mean, there are some, but I walk around and they're the guys and the gals. They're not fat. They're not obese. I'm sure they don't eat as much as I do when I go out. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. And plus, they do a lot of walking there. Many people don't drive regularly because, heck, parking is expensive. There's traffic, um, and it's much more cost effective to catch a train. Not only that, if you live far away, like an hour away by train, you can take a nap. You don't have to worry about driving. And if after office hours you and your buddies go out to drink, you shouldn't be driving. So catching the train is great, and then you stumble on your way home. After you get off the train, but. But there's people walking around where I stayed in Shibuya. They have maybe the busiest crossing. They call it the Shibuya crossing. It's incredible. How many people is like a lot of people. and it and then the Starbucks right there at the crossing is really famous. It's like on the third floor maybe, and there are window seats, and I looked up and there's just there all the seats are taken and people are just looking down at the crossing, and it's a seat that you want to get, and you don't want to give up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an incredible place. The countryside is beautiful. Of course, they have a lot of convenience stores everywhere, including 7-Eleven as well as, Family Mart and so on and so forth. They're everywhere. Uh, Restaurants, big and small, everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, and they have these what they call kaitan sushi, where they have the sushi already made and it's on the belt, so you just pull off what you want, and you pay for they'll count your plates. Oh, blue plate, gold plates, red plates, and then you pay whatever the amount is, and you in 15 minutes you can be out of there. It's like fast food. Pull the sushi you want, eat it, you're out of there. It's
Hmm.
great. Um, so I went to that place a couple of times, and many other places where, wow, it,
Now, are
you
you
know,
staying in like a hotel or at
oh
somebody's
yeah,
house when you're there?
no, I always stayed in the hotel.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
and even the hotel food was good. Going upstairs for breakfast, I had a choice of going to the Western restaurant or the Japanese restaurant. So I went half half. Great, and the view from the high floor, great. I could see the city, and well, you saw the photos.
Yeah, I saw that one especially. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be cool in 4 years when they're hosting the Olympics. I think that's going to be
yeah,
a neat.
that'll be something. I don't know if I want to be in the area at the time because there'll be a lot of people there, and I think the hotel rooms are, the prices will go up just like in Las Vegas. When there's a convention, the prices of the hotel rooms go up. Yeah, so yeah, I'll stay away. But anyway, yeah, all in all, I had a great time there, uh, teaching, as well as performing, spending some time learning the language more, just listening and then using it, because I don't use it very much here, except when I'm playing Thursday nights at the Marriott Hotel, when the Japanese customers come in and they want to say hello and so on,
Yeah.
so it's yeah, it's something. Even the Haagen Dazs over there in Japan, they only sell it in the little containers. I took
Uh,
a photo of that too, and it's kind of like almost $3 for one little one like this, and the quality is better than in America. I
hmm.
I didn't realize that until somebody told me. He says, "Yeah, try the one in Japan. It's better, and they have different flavors: pumpkin, seasonal flavors, um, yam, or sweet potato, the purple one, and so on and so forth, and macadamia nut. We don't have that here in Hawaii by Haagen Dazs, and they have it up there, and it's great.
Huh.
But yeah, so anyway, there's a lot of Hawaiian music clubs too, in Tokyo at least. Um, they're scattered around Japan, but they are there, and yeah, I
Well,
got to
very
go to
cool.
some of them. So anyway, um, we're last time we were talking about albums, my picks. Albums that I actually used to learn steel guitar. Because there's more than one school for anything. And for steel guitar, besides taking private lessons from Jerry way back when I was a teenager, I got to observe other steel guitarists. Many of them who are still alive. The greats, Barney Isaacs, Billy Hewland, David Kili'i, and so on and so forth. I played with some of them, and I could watch, see what they did, and so on. But the other teacher too were recordings.
Mm.
The LPs, the cassettes, the reel to reels. Yeah, yeah, or the one thing I would do is, I would, when you could do this back in the day, when I could call up the Hawaiian radio station and say, "Oh, can you play this song?" and they would, and I would record it, you know, and then I would play it back and I would listen and see, what key they were playing in and what the steel guitarist was doing, and so on. And then the LPs, I used to just drop the needle, listen, oh, pick up the needle again, drop it again, listen, oh, pick it up again until I got it in my ear. Then I would go to my steel guitar and figure it out.
Uh,
Um, uh, for the real to real, I remember, actually slowing down. Yeah, I mean, you can only go so slow on the reel to reel, but sometimes I would put my hand and just slow it down manually, on the reels. Uh, Anything to learn how to play those licks or those solos or figure out tunings and so on. I did that. And Jerry Bird told me, he listened to 78s and he done wore out his 78s. So
hmm.
that was his teacher too. Um, so I'm not alone, and I bet there are thousands of others who did or do the same thing. Listen to recordings and copy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey.
so so here are some of the recordings that have helped me. In my in my training on the steel guitar. Um, let's see. Of course, the Alfred Apaka albums because Joe Zassi played on them. And there's several Alfred Apaka albums where Jules is a steel guitar player. There's at least one, maybe another one with Danny Stewart playing steel guitar. But it's
Oh, okay.
It's Jules' sound and touch that I wanted to learn, and his fills and so on. So you can look up the Alfred Apaka albums. The best of Alfred Apaka and so on. There are so many by Capitol Records or maybe Hula Records, maybe Decca also. Um, there's Steel Guitar Magic, and Steel Guitar Magic features Barney Isaacs and Billy Hewland.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. I think you probably remember me saying something about that because it was. It, I don't know when you. I guess when you type in Hawaiian steel guitar in iTunes or Spotify or something, it's like one of the main ones that comes up. You know.
Yeah, it's Steel Guitar Magic. Well, it's all instrumental, and I just enjoyed listening to the renditions. How Barney did something or how Billy did something with the song. Songs that I'm all familiar with, And then there were the Halekulani Girl albums. There's one in particular I remember. They had two. One had the same photo, but one was more bluish and the other one was more orange. And it's the orange one that had Benny Rogers playing steel guitar. And I love Benny Rogers style, especially for hula style songs, Auntie Genoa songs. In fact, that's another one, Auntie Genoa Keave. Her recordings because it featured on the steel guitar Benny Rogers. I love listening to Benny Rogers. So any of the Genoa Keave CDs that are out there today, or if you go to iTunes, you'll find Genoa Keave, and that works especially with the hulas, especially, or with that style of Hawaiian songs or Hawaiian music. Um, you know, I kind of distinguish, the more traditional Hawaiian songs with the Waikiki songs or the Hapahaole songs, or how a band that plays mostly traditional music versus a band that plays, a lot of Hapahaole songs in Waikiki, a swing style versus, you know, um, I hate to say more local, but sort of like that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so, you can check out those albums. Let's see, uh, the Hawaii Calls albums, Hawaii Calls CDs, a lot of them featured Joe Zassia on the steel guitar. Of course, you can look on for Hawaiian Shores. Hawaiian Shores was mostly, if not all, instrumentals, and that would be a really good one.
That's the name of the album, Hawaiian
Hawaiian
Shores.
Shores by Hawaii Calls. A lot
Okay.
of great solos. In fact, they're so good that people try to copy it, and I hear it every now and then. Somebody will play a song, and I go, I heard that recording before. you know, they'll copy it note for note. Um, uh, Echoes of Hawaii, again, Hawaii Calls.
Yeah.
Anything from Hawaii Calls has steel guitar. Uh, Barney Isaacs is featured on some of them, but it's mostly Jules. And I think there might be some with David Kelly on them, the early recordings, if one can find them. Another person is Eddie Pang, and he was featured on Bill Lincoln's albums, Bill Ali'iloa Lincoln.
Hmm.
Now, I'm sure the one that is called Bill Ali'iloa Lincoln, Hawaii's Falsetto Poet. Um, I'm sure that one is still available. I'm not sure if the other older albums are available any longer. Uh, but there's Eddie Pang, uh, who played a very nice steel guitar. Yeah, very nice. Like to play a lot of chords. And then another one on that particular album, Walter Wailehua, who was a jazz guitarist who played steel guitar, and he played the D9th tuning.
Hmm.
Um, it's some interesting ideas, simple but interesting ideas. And then there's one album, Hula in Falsetto by Bill Lincoln, and Jerry Bird is playing the steel guitar in that one. And I remember Jerry told me, yeah, he tried to play some of Walter Wailehua's licks on that album. Although, I'm sure nobody would have known because, it would have still sounded like Jerry, regardless. Because Jerry had such a distinct, unique sound and touch. Uh, then there's an album called Evening in the Islands. Good luck if you can find that one. Evening in the Islands. Like Steel Guitar Magic, it featured two steel guitars, Eddie Pang and Barney Isaacs. Now, Barney Isaacs is playing the Fender 400, the 8-string pedal steel guitar.
Ah.
And it sounds great. And what I like about that is their styles and tone were very, very similar. It's in the beginning I couldn't tell who was who, and then later as I knew more, I could
Mm-hmm.
distinguish between the two. And plus, I could hear the pedals being used, and I knew that was Barney. Um, but I love that album. As a duet album, that is my favorite. Again, called Evening in the Islands by Hula Records. It may be out of print. I'm sure it's out of print. So,
Yeah, I'm looking for it here on Google, but
so you probably have to go on eBay or someplace, and see if you can find an LP. I know there's a CD version. So if you can find the CD version, that would be even better. Uh, there's uh, of course there's the Sons of Hawaii albums with David Feet Rogers. Now, my first influence was David Feet Rogers. He played a major tuning, like a D tuning, no sevenths in there, just a straight D tuning, and it was a very simple style, but with the style of music for the Sons of Hawaii, it fit perfectly, a perfect match. And so, since the style was so simple, I could play it. It was easy for me to learn. And then the next style I learned was Benny Rogers, who was the uncle of David Feet Rogers. So his style was similar, but a little more complex, a little more movement, and so on. And so, any of the Sons of Hawaii albums, I would recommend, especially uh, what I call the Red album. You can see the paintings or the images of the five members, and the background is red. That to me is their best, the classic. They're all
gotcha.
good. But that's my favorite one, and that's the one I went to school on because it was released about the time when I started learning, and and my brother was in a group that used to come up and practice at our home, and the group included Dennis Kamakai, the famous composer, before was before he became famous, and Aaron Mahi, who for more than 20 years was a band director for the Royal Hawaiian Band here. Of course, they were in their early 20s, so they were all relatively unknown, and so on. So I would kind of secretly jam along with them because they played all these Sons of Hawaii songs, so I could play and so on. So I went to school on that as well, or I got to practice. So Sons of Hawaii, or even Eddie Kamai. This is Eddie Kamai. Now, if you can find that, you'd be lucky because Feats does such a wonderful job on that. His harmonics, and of course Eddie with his picking on the ukulele, great stuff. Now, speaking of David Feat Rogers and Eddie Kamai, they did an album that was originally called Kanikapila, which means Let's Play Music, and later on it was retitled Slack Key and Steel Guitar. That may be out of print, but I did get a CD of that, and it's great. It's all instrumental. Between the slack key, steel guitar, and ukulele, it's beautiful. It's great BGM background music, and it's also great music to kind of relax and even fall asleep to. And it's just so mellow.
And what's that called again?
It's called Slack Key and Steel Guitar, Volume 1.
Okay.
Volume 1. Yeah.
Also,
originally, it was called Kanikapila.
Oh, okay.
Now, there was a Volume 2, Slack Key and Steel Guitar Volume 2. It featured Gabby Pahinui on the steel guitar. I went to school on that too, because Gabby was doing these fantastic things on the steel guitar. And I was trying to figure out, how did he do this and that? And then the ukulele player on there was Peter Moon of the Sunday Manoa. Okay. And boy, that's a real energetic album. Great stuff. All instrumentals. So a lot of people who heard the recording didn't realize that was Gabby playing steel guitar and didn't know how good Gabby was on the Hawaiian steel guitar. He's like, the legend of slack key, yeah. People always pay honor to Gabby Pahinui as a slack key master, but before he was a slack key master, he was a steel guitar master. and he couldn't read music.
Amazing.
Yeah, truly amazing.
I just got on iTunes, and they do have Evening in the Islands. Not to interrupt, but
really,
yep.
Okay, can you name some of the songs on there?
Well, it says by the Maile Serenaders.
Maile Serenaders.
Okay, the first I'll Weave a Lay of Stars.
Good, that's it.
Okay. Breeze. Okay.
Great. Hana.
Yeah. Yep. Pearly Shells, Blue
Pearly
Hawaii.
Shells, right. The Hawaiian wedding song. Right. And for any duet album, I would highly recommend 5 stars. Highly recommend that.
Nice.
Now, here's another one that never made it to the CD because, it was recorded back in the late 50s. But it's called Paradise Found. Paradise Found. Now, Paradise Found is the name of the song that we call Hana. The original title is Paradise Found.
Oh,
and this album features the orchestra up in Hollywood with the arrangements by Felix Slatkin, which it was a big Hollywood arranger, big time. And the steel guitarist was Jill Zassi.
Oh, cool.
And he's playing the Fender 400. Oh, it's excellent. 5 stars. Maybe I would give it 6, out of 5. It's a great album if you can ever get your hands on it.
Yeah, I'm looking on iTunes right now. I don't.
What would the artist if you'll find it? it says the fantastic sound strings of Felix Slatkin. The fantastic
Felix.
strings of Felix Slatkin, Paradise Found.
Mm.
But that again, it came out in LP form, and this is way before cassettes and CDs. But if somebody could find it on eBay or someplace, it's great.
Hmm.
I mean, Jules does incredible things on there, along with the orchestra. I mean, nice arrangements. If you
Yep.
can
It's
get
on.
your hands, if you can get your hands on this other album out of Japan, it's called Hawaiian Golden Hits by Etho Nakada.
Hmm.
Hawaiian Golden Hits by Etho Nakada, and Joe Zassi plays on many of those cuts. And actually, it's Hawaii Calls members backing her up on many of those cuts. So it sounds great. Out of all of them, those particular cuts are my favorites. In the other cuts, there are Japanese musicians. It sounds different, totally different, totally
So the
different.
I'm kind of behind you on this one. The Paradise Found. Okay, there's looks like 2 used vinyls on Amazon. If you want to get that
Can
on
you
Amazon.
describe what the cover looks like?
Looks like a hula girl that's kind of laying down, holding
A yellow
2.
plumeria lei.
Yep, and it says the fantastic strings of Felix Slacken.
That's it. Yeah, Slatkin. Yeah,
Slatkin. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Great album.
I'll have to get
Uh,
that.
yeah, that's a really nice album. I mentioned Hawaii Calls. I mentioned Alfred Apaka again, featuring Joe Zassi and so on. Um, let's see what other. Of course, Jerry Bird albums, but for me, it was more for solo work. I listened to Jerry Bird again. A teenager. This is before I met him. I found his album in the state library. I borrowed it and I played it a lot. And I went, wow, how'd he do that? And so on. Uh, let's see, who else? Who else can I recommend?
What what Jerry Bird albums would you recommend?
Well, for Jerry, like By Request, that's a beautiful one. By Request, Master of the Steel Guitar. He came out with the first one I ever heard, however, was Bird of Paradise, Byrd,
Hmm.
Paradise. That one just took me back end, and it's like I went, whoa. But those especially. He did one with the Tokyo Symphony or something. I mean, but it's Japanese songs and so on. Very different. I preferred the ones with Hawaiian songs on it since I was playing Hawaiian music. Master of Touch and Tone, that's another good one by Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Um, Other good steel guitar albums, if I can think of. If you can find these, Hawaii's Mahi Beamer, or actually this album, Hawaii's Mahi Beamer, Mahi Beamer, Beamer. Now he came out with 2 albums, and the first one featured Joe Zassi. That's the one I like best. The second one, Danny Stewart played steel guitar. Big difference with the overall tone of the recordings. One seems to be brighter and so on. The first one, however, seems more mellow.
Hmm.
And of course, with Jules playing steel guitar, it was nice. Oh, I still love listening to it. Beautiful, um, gorgeous stuff. Um, let's see. Um, I would recommend even albums that Bobby Ngano's on. He does such a good job. Even Jeff Ahoy, if you can find those albums. I can't think of titles right now. But if somebody does enough research, those two do a good job of playing fills and so on. They have nice touch. They have nice tone, and so on.
Well,
Pua Almeida and the Moana Serenaders. Pua Almeida, his steel guitarist was Billy Helen, and
yeah.
and and Billy, I got to play with Billy. I got to watch him. I got to listen to his recordings. It's like he did some incredible stuff. I loved, especially when he started to go off on swing and jazz a little while playing Hawaiian songs. Um, I've always waited. When I'm playing with him, I always waited for him to jam a little more. Just to break out, and he would every now and then. Um, Too bad, Paul Almeida didn't do more albums of him playing steel guitar. There's only one that I'm aware of. It's called My Son Pua. My Son Pua. And Pua played he had two fry pans in a case, like a briefcase, a big briefcase. And he would screw legs into it and he would play that. And the two fry pans were gorgeous. He sounded beautiful. And Pua had a really nice touch. As I mentioned to you a few podcasts ago, Pua was supposed to be my steel guitar teacher. But, he just didn't have the time and he passed away way too soon.
Oh.
But because of that, Jerry Bird became my teacher. So, not all that shabby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All those albums that Greg Sardina has done that you've played on, just called, what are they called? Hawaiian Steel Guitar Volumes.
Volume, yeah, song.
Those are really great albums. I really like those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had fun doing them, and so on. I don't particularly like to listen to my recordings because sometimes when I do, I go, why didn't I do something else there? Or I could have put something else there. Why did I, So I'm always critiquing what I do, on my albums. Of course, once it's on the album, once it's recorded, that's it. Yeah, it's history. Yeah. Saho OPE albums.
Oh,
Saho
yeah.
OPE and his novelty Hawaiian. Yep. That's good stuff. Especially if you're into the 20s material. A lot of the stuff he did was great. The razzmatazz and all that. Oh, I love it. Not necessarily the style that I played down in Waikiki in particular, because we do, a later period style. The 40s and 50s, and not so much the 20s and 30s. Now, if you can find any recordings by Sterling Mossman. His steel guitar player was Barney Isaacs. And Barney was in his prime. Barney, he was just burning it. Great stuff. A lot of good stuff on there. Let's see. And the Sterling Mossman. Well, there's Sterling Mossman at the Barefoot Bar, and the guys actually used to play barefooted.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm on Amazon right now looking at that album. They want, for a vinyl, they want $99 for that.
Well, okay, there you go. And there's another one, Loke's Luau, Loke, Loke's Luau, and Happy in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So these great albums, I went to school on. Let's see, what else can I think of? I went to school on a number of albums with other players. I just wanted to absorb as much as I could. Go to this place or that bar. Listen to some steel guitar players that weren't as well known, and just watch what they did and absorb, and then go home and try it out and so on. So those albums are are great albums to listen to, even if you don't sit down and try to copy. But if you just kind of sit and take in the music and so on, there's a real feeling of Hawaii in those albums. And if you close your eyes, you can hopefully imagine being here. You know, so so it great stuff.
Yeah, I've been buying vinyls lately, and I think I mentioned this to you. Old vinyl albums, and it adds. You hear that old music, and you smell the oldness of the album, and then just to hear it, the scratchiness of the record, it adds a whole other quality to the record.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but anyway, yeah, I hope that you know that our listeners can find these recordings. Some are on YouTube, selections from these albums,
Hmm.
and then some of them you can find on iTunes. Some you got to go to eBay. Like you found some already, so that's great. Anyway, well, it's about time. So um, next time we'll talk about technique or some things that I do on the steel guitar.
Nice, very cool. Well, thanks again,
Good.
Alan.
Well, take care, and all you listeners out there, I want to say aloha and mahalo for tuning in.
Bye.
So take care. Aloha.